All right, so looking at example 1, like I said, today we're determining if different four-sided shapes are quadrilaterals or parallelograms. Okay. On this example 1, why can I not conclude that this is a parallelogram? Right, what sides are supposed to be the same in quadrilaterals or in parallelograms? Opposites. So really, these two should be the same and these two should be the same. So this is not a parallelogram because it does not match the congruent sides that they're supposed to be. Okay. For your explanation on this one, opposite sides are not equal. Okay. So, again, we're going to write these down at the end. Okay. So, if we're given a quadrilateral and we know that their opposite sides are the same, we can say that it is a parallelogram automatically. Okay, without knowing anything about the angles or anything about diagonals. Okay. Looking at these examples, what do you think about example 2? Do you think that is a parallelogram with the given information? Why are we saying yes? Okay, I heard two different things. I heard that angle G is congruent to angle E. That is true. Okay. What do these angles have to be? Have to equal 180. So let's check. If I take 180 minus 27, what do I get? I do get 153. So does that work out? Yes. So yes, this is a parallelogram. Okay. I'm going to ask you this. If I didn't know this angle at all, now do you think I can say it's a parallelogram? I cannot. Okay? I have to know for sure that that angle is going to add up to 180. Okay? I can't just say, yep, those two are the same, so that means angle D and angle F have to be the same. Okay? You have to know at least both of them. Okay? What about B? Why automatic no? Opposite angles are not the same. So if N is 91, what does L have to be? Has to be 91. So this one is not a parallelogram. One thing, again, we'll write these down at the end. If we know that B is congruent to angle D and we know A is congruent to angle C, we can automatically assume it's a parallelogram, just like if we knew the sides were congruent. Okay, same thing with the angles. If we knew those, we can automatically say it's a parallelogram. Okay. Looking at example 3a, it says if x equals 25 and y equals 30, is this a parallelogram? I know your notes say 5 right here, right? Instead of 15. Okay, so we're going to go with yours. What should I do here? If they give me the values of x and values of y. I need to plug them in, right? I need to check, because what should P be congruent to? R. So we have to check that. So if I plug in 25 for, I'm just going to say P. So I have 2 times 25 minus 10. What's 2 times 25? 50 minus 10, 40. So 40 is angle P. So what does that mean R should be? R should be 40. Can we assume, yes, it's 40? No, what should I do? Plug 25 also in for R. Okay, so I have 25 plus 5, which equals 30. So, is this a parallelogram? No. Do I even need to check for the y equals 30? No. Okay, if P and R were the same, then would I have to check the y? Yes. Okay, but if one of them fails, you do not have to check both of them. So on this one, it tells us if G is 14 and H is 5, is it a parallelogram? So what are we going to do with those values? Plug them in. Okay, just since it started with G, I'm going to plug it into here. So 2 times 14 is what? 28 minus 11? 17. So AB is 17. What else should be 17? CD. Can we assume? No. Let's plug it in. 14 plus 3? 17. Can we say, yes, this is a parallelogram? Why not?
Because you add H.
You have to check the other information they gave you. Okay, so if I plug in H for their values, I get 5 plus 1 is 6. And then here I get 2 times 5, 10 minus 3, 7. Is this a parallelogram? No, because, right, these ones are not the same. Okay, so again, the diagonals are the same as what they were yesterday. What do we know about them?
Equal side, just split half.
They split each other in half. So what this is saying is what we're used to. We know AX is congruent to CX, and we know BX is congruent to XD. That has not changed, okay? The diagonals split each other into 2 equal parts. So, one more thing. Another way we know if we have a parallelogram is if we have a pair of opposite sides that are congruent, and what do those arrows mean? Parallel. If we have a pair of opposite congruent sides and we know they're parallel, we can assume that they are congruent to each other. Okay, again, I'll have you write that down at the end if you want to. Okay, so let's look at this example here. It says, for what values of P and Q? So we want to find a value for P and a value for Q to make this true that it is a parallelogram. What are we thinking? Right, because what do we know? I'm just going to look at BD for right now. What do we know about those 2 parts? They're equal. Okay, so if they're equal, we set them equal to each other. So we do 7P plus 1 equals 5P plus 3. So then I solve. So I have 2P plus 1 equals 3. Subtract 1. 2P equals 2. What do we get for P? 1. So P equals 1. So we found our value for P. How do I find the value of Q? Same thing, right? I know that those 2 sides have to be equal. So I'm going to set 3Q plus 1 equal to 2Q plus 3. What did you guys get for Q? Yep. Should get 2. So in order for this shape, or this quadrilateral, to be a parallelogram, you have to have the value of Q equal to 2, and you have to have the value of P equal to 1. Okay. What do we think on A? Is it a parallelogram?
No.
Does anyone think yes? Good job. It is no. Why is this not a parallelogram? Okay. Is it true for parallelograms that these are congruent to each other?
Yeah.
Yes, but we cannot say yes because we know nothing about the sides and we know nothing about the other 2 angles. Okay, so we cannot assume that it is a parallelogram. What about B?
Yes.
Did anybody say no?
Ashton did.
It is no. Let's talk about it. Okay?
You missed 2 credits, so I said it more.
Let's think about the sides. Okay? Is it true that these 2 sides are congruent to each other in parallelograms?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Do we know anything about the other 2 sides? No. Let's look at the angles. Why did you guys say yes because of the angles?
29.
Do they add up to 180? Okay, so yes, if I took 180 minus 29, I would get 151. I agree with that. But do I know anything about G or H? No. So can I say that this parallelogram is or this quadrilateral is a parallelogram? No, we do not have enough information. Okay. If it told me that this angle over here was 29, then do I have enough information? Yes. If it told me that these 2 sides are parallel to each other, do I have enough information? I do. Yep, I do. So what I want you to do before I hand out your homework, go ahead and find a spot. The next page is really good because there's nothing on it. Okay. What I want you to do, if you need to, write down those properties that we just talked about. Okay. You can either draw the picture or you can write it in words. It's up to you guys. Okay. These are all the properties we just talked about for when you can assume it is a parallelogram.